Are you going to read today? Read poetry? You're a civilian.
No, I mean, I thought I might, but if you run out of anything, I'll have to sit down and read. Somebody else.
Donna puts it right over on that table.
I thought. We didn't need to leave early.
How are you doing, Mr. Ralph?
I'll let you know when I come up for air. How are you, buddy? Ready when you are, Jim.
I'm first. So
It's been a long week.
We went out and shot in the woods yesterday.
So did my brother. He got 2 deer.
Well, whenever you need to.
Yeah.
How did go? How do with the
Yeah, we did some drone shots.
Joby, nice to meet you. I'm Jim. All right. Did you sign up to read? All right. Looking forward to
Yeah,
hearing
we
your
got
poem.
we did this whole action sequence. Jim, we're ready when you are. Okay. Let's let you know we're ready. Hey, thank you. Yeah, we shot all this action sequence, and this one character is.
I got to tell you what she did after you left. It was pretty amazing. She made sure everybody got to read again, but Ed stole the show.
way they were letting those people go on, I didn't think that was gonna read. I should have stayed. I felt bad all the way home.
Tony was angry. Now he's right home because he didn't get. He needed what he run like an open mic. I said, "Oh, we're supposed to go there." He said, "They could have shown." Thanks for coming.
Thanks for inviting.
And you're okay for you to read that poem? The one that you read at Intifada?
Yeah.
Okay. The eye of history never sleeps. It sweeps you in, atom, atom. So you happen again and again.
Video on here.
Okay. And where is it?
I don't know.
To return as a body part bearing witness in the slaughter field
On your
that were
phone?
golden gloves in another time.
On this thing or on your computer?
Your ear of its own accord
Yeah.
bears witness to the blast. The wetted shrapnel.
Terrible.
That's
Cries of mothers that lacerate the heaven. Your
Oh, it's
eyes to the ocean of white shrouds.
Yeah.
Video?
That was 30 days ago. A city
Okay.
100 years ago,
Catch me earlier.
a jewel of the Eastern Mediterranean. Your feet lead you nightly in your dank, cavernous dream, where you are so small. Could someone ask them to turn off the music, please? You know your mother by scent alone, and father by the muscular crook of his arm. Here you are washed up on the shore of primal remembrance, an infant among infants, sweet and blind, and held together by love alone, until a house, a hospital, an apartment building collapses on you, until your neck is squeezed between metal rod and concrete and body parts of the universe that was once your mother and father, your mom and dad. Except for the soothsayer, the whispering of your countrymen sharpening knives to sacrifice one people over another people, there is dead silence. The eye of history is a camera that does not shudder and go dark after a bombing. You remain in the middle of its crosshairs. The eye of history dangles over your morning coffee, waiting for your tongue to finally bear witness. Shadab Z. Snezny. Welcome to Second Sunday Jimmy Poetry. And can everybody give some love to the people on Zoom? This is so much fun. And can everybody give some love to Alfred Williams, our gym master? In the middle of a film that's doing really well. I'm going to call out some names. I'm going to do some shout outs. Sylvia, raise your hand. Co-creator of the African American Writers and Artists. Wave your hand, everybody. Marjorie Pasoli, raise your hand, everybody. Artist and poet. Dennis Alpha, raise your hand, everybody. Dolores, raise your hand, everybody. Got a lot of talent in this room. A lot of talent. Michael Turner, raise your hand, everybody. Chris Manoy, take off your hat, everybody. Got a lot of talent in the room. We are here to celebrate, where is she? This young lady, Jill Badonsky, raise your hand, please. And I've been watching her for 30 years, 20, 30 years, do her magic, and you'll get your money's worth today. Oh, we're not charging, are we? I forgot about that. So what we do here at Second Sunday Jimmy Poetry is half the poets that are signed up. Got this right here. If you haven't signed up, grab me when I come off the stage. Is that Shannon back there? Raise your hand, everybody. Shannon Bates. Now, some of these people that I'm calling out, Jack Smith, raise your hand, everybody. Some of these people I'm calling out, we've been going to open mics here in town since the 90s, since like the mid 90s. And so I know them very well. I know how talented they are. So poets get 5 minutes or 2 poems. Musicians get 10 minutes or 2 songs. And we do a really good job here of remembering there's people waiting after you to get on the mic. So please be courteous to them and don't go beyond 5 minutes. And if you get kind of forget about that, I will remind you. That's not a problem. If you need to go to the restroom, it's behind me on the left. So please avail yourself of that if you need to. Some people said we're going to have to leave early. We hope that when you want to leave, you'll just go. I mean, we don't have a. This is not the Republican Party in here.
Oh.
You know, if you need to go, I know you're all busy and everything, but I know that you want to see the magic that this lady's going to do, and she is a magic lady. And I wonder if her husband could raise his hand to us. Hello, that is the bridegroom, and we got the bride here. And so we're going to get going in just a couple of minutes. I'd like to have a moment of silence. If you could join me in a moment of silence for on October 7th for the people of Israel that lost their lives. You're making a lot of phone calls to me during the week. You're upset about it. You're also upset about what's happening to the Palestinians. So if we have a moment of silence also for the Palestinians who are losing their lives since October 7th and up for a long time. Another moment of silence, please.
Yes.
I'd like to ask the people on mute on Zoom to please mute yourselves. And sometimes when you don't do that, a baby will be crying or a dog will be barking. And so we want to, my deal here is I think anybody who comes here and gets on this microphone deserves dignity. Yeah. Except for Joe. And so I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to try. We just do this all the time. Don't pay attention to it. So please, people on Zoom, please keep muted, unless you're going to read, of course. And so another thing that we do here is we support artists. Jill has some books here, and some other people have some books over here. And when this is all done, we hang out afterwards, maybe have some more coffee, have some more beer or wine, whatever. And we go up to poets and say, what are your influences? Or how did you write that book? Or something like that. We hang out if we want to. And so one of the things that's going on is last Thursday, a few days ago, we did an event here called Intifada. And Intifada is the 1987 Palestinian uprising against all of the genocide that was happening in Israel. And so Steve Cowett wrote a book poem called Intifada. Joe Malash stood behind a table with another lady, and Mary Cowett sent the books to us and said, why don't you just offer whatever they want to do for the book, a donation, and then what we want to do is send the money we collect to a Palestinian organization. Well, Joe and Shadab found an organization that's helping Palestinian students that are here in the country, and they can't find out what's going on with their family back there. And so Joe collected $110, and we have some of those books there. And if you'd like to do a donation, and that will continue to feed that organization and help out Palestinian teens. Thank you for listening to us. Our first poet is a woman that comes to a lot of my classes, and not only is she a very talented writer, but she always gives feedback to the other poets that are there that is expanding, helps them think out of the box, and is very, very informed about poetry elements and about what you do when you have that pen in your hand and you want to write a poem. Please welcome Anitra Smith.
I'm going to try to play. So this is an experimental course. I have accompaniment. I'm going to sing Come Rain or Come Shine. Anybody know that song?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beauty. Yes. It's a beauty. And
Show me where you want it.
yeah, right there's fine. So I'm hoping it'll be loud enough that you can hear it. I'm going to play Joe Sample's version. Anybody know Joe Sample?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Alfred.
The Crusaders.
Wonderful piano player. And he's gone now, but he left us a gift.
To the microphone.
the gift is raindrops. So I've noticed some piano players like to mess around with the keys. My poetry brother, he bosses me around a lot. Okay. Anyway, okay. Yes. Hello? Are we on? So this song is full of raindrops. And I think it's Joe Sample's gift to us. So between the verses, you'll hear raindrops, and then at the end, there's a whole lot of raindrops, and you can totally picture them coming down the road and coming lower and lower until the water kind of stops. You'll hear it. Okay. So I'm hoping this is gonna be loud enough.
Yeah. Just a cheeseburger and fries.
You hear it?
Yeah, we hear it.
I'm gonna love you like nobody's loved you. Come rain or come shine. High as a mountain, deep as a river. Come rain or yes, when you met, you thought it was just one of those things. But don't ever let me. It's gonna be true if you let me. You're gonna love me like nobody's loved. Rain or come shine. Happy together, happy together. But won't it be fine? Days may be rainy or sunny. We're in or we're out, got some money. I'm with you always. Come rain or come shine. Raindrops. Do the raindrops? Yep. I'm gonna break the rules. Tell you why. Raindrops. Those of you that were here the last time I played, I told you about breaking the rules. So the serious jazz players never do flutter tone. It's considered a gimmick. You know, the one that goes.
Yeah.
But for you, I break the rules because I know what a bunch of rebels you are. Okay, thank you.
That was cool.
We'll give some more love for Anitra, please. You're always glad when there's veterans here. I am a Vietnam veteran, and this man that lives behind me is also a Vietnam veteran. We considered him somewhat mystical in the way he lives and the way he writes. This is Michael Turner Ortega.
Don't mean it. No, I don't mean it. I just live, Engagement with community after a post-Vietnam experience. Mindful running held my fleeting thoughts without hypervigilance. Moments of lived experience served with sacrifice. Each breath spoke peaceful intent, offered up strength in a lifetime of grief. Back in the world, time spent without sequence or concrete ideas with no place to put them. Flowed with the current, held above water, and won't look back. There we go. The second poem for today. The second poem for today. Primitive, endless energy. Visions through the margins of things. Takes the world into my arms. Dances around controversy. The limits of human consciousness. A sword raptor opens its talons, playing for keeps. Travels through you. Unexpected joy breeds kindness. A happy grin reaches out of a story just to find out what the world is made of.
Yeah.
Our next poet I met through his poetry. He wrote a poem called I Don't Know. And then he came to a workshop of Steve Cowett's, and I realized, oh, that's the guy who wrote that poem. I got his phone number, and we've been doing a lot of events for a lot of years now. This is Vietnam veteran Joe Milosh.
Oh.
Old man.
So, so you know, sometimes Jim confuses me.
Sometimes.
He'll say, "Oh, I knew that person from 90, and I'm never sure if he means the year 90 or 1990. Yesterday was Veterans Day, and on Veterans Day, I like to read this poem because originally it was called Armistice Day, which was in honor of those who died in World War I, which was supposed to be the war to end all wars. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. The reason we used to wear a poppy, and many of you will remember that, is that in Flanders Field, there were so many dead left to rot, sink into the earth, that the following spring, when the poppies came up, they were the reddest in memory. So they thought it was from all the dead. And this poem is by John McCrae. It's called Flanders Field. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the lark still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, and if you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. Thank you.
How about some more love for Joe, please? You've already been introduced to her. I was asked to be on the board of the African American Writers and Artists, and I was able to do that for 2 years. Jimmy asked me to do that. And one of the things that some of you don't know is that Jimmy Collins invited me over to the big kitchen, and we go over there and have breakfast a lot. And he said, "Let's start a poetry open mic." I'm like, "Oh no, thank you." And he said, "No, man, we can do it together." That's one of Jimmy's paintings right there. They used to be along this wall as well. He was a painter and a poet. And he said, "I only have one condition about doing a open mic with you." I said, "What is it?" He said, "It has to be a Black-owned business." So, can we give Frank, the owner, Air Force veteran of 20 years, can we give him some love? He's been feeding us like family on and off since 2010. Jimmy and I did this for 1.5 years, and then he passed away from sickle cell. But he is with us right now. Yes. And he's all about this. It's all about this. Where did I do with my? Oh boy! Somebody moved my sign. I don't know where my sign went. That sign? There. On the chair. He's talking about the other things. Oh, well, there was another sign right here, but it's gone. So it was about, this is all people are welcome here. All religions are welcome here. All colors of skin are welcome here. There it is over there. Thank you. See, he moved it for me. Thank you, Jimmy. He does that. So check out that sign because especially we like young people to be here. I know there's a lot of us that are seasoned. But this is all just, well, if this was a vegetarian restaurant, we would also call it that we're allitarians here. So please spread the word and come down every second Sunday. How many people on Zoom? Julio, are you going to read? Anybody else besides Julio going to read on Zoom? Unmute yourself and let me know, please.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes,
Julio.
I will
All
be
right.
reading.
Okay, anybody else going to read? That's your fan club, huh? Where'd she go? She back there? So she got her fan club here. Oh, well, welcome. If you're not going to read, welcome. All right. Sylvia Telefaro, amazing activist. She's an artivist. She's an artist and an activist. And she's going to come up to the microphone now and read. Fasten your seatbelts. This is Sylvia Telefaro.
Free Palestine.
You know, the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians has been going on for over 70 years. And the Palestinians have used different tactics over the years to achieve their freedom. They still ain't free. I wrote about one when they was using the tactic of suicide bombers. And it's in my book. It's amazing how this becomes almost like a circle of keep repeating. But the thing about injustice, when you're fighting for freedom, you're not going to stop. 170 years, they still going to be fighting for their freedom. So I said, free Palestine. The piece that is in my book, Innovations, Illusions, Devices, and Desires. You can't even buy it yet. I just got it published by CLI. I'll be happy to put signing on the screen. This piece is entitled To Breed a Suicide Bomber. How do you breed a suicide bomber? Do you bring them up to believe extreme measures are the only way to achieve their agendas can be achieved? Or are they slowly produced, one incident at a time, until this has been instilled that to kill is more of a spiritual journey than an actual crime? Is it more than just outside incidents that contribute to such extreme activity? Can it be an inherent belief that victims of suicide bombers are simply war casualties? And were there suicide bombers before the Warsaw Peace Accord? Or were they being bred? Perhaps when legal venues to challenge in policies and illegal land confiscations were removed and courts was no longer an option. Palestinians was told they simply had to understand that this was no longer their land and that they were of a different state. Perhaps suicide bombers were being bred. And when constraints were removed for Israel to use beats in American tanks, I think suicide bombers were being bred. And when Israel realized that now there will be no American and European intervention if they committed war crimes, when land was occupied one parcel at a time, suicide bombers were being bred. Tell me, how do you breed a suicide bomber? Because suicide bombers are being bred in America and suicide bombers are being bred in Iraq Afghanistan, Israel, and Pakistan, and all over this land. Suicide bombers are being bred. Shh. Suicide bombers are breathing. And as I breathe in, I see a new world emerging. Thank you.
Have some more love for Sylvia, please. I can't say that when we finished that event on Thursday night, that I didn't have some fear that some retaliation would happen for the people, the 8 poets who are up on this stage reading that poem, but I shooed it away because Dr. King reminded us if we remain silent with injustice, we're complicit. And so I did a group emailing. I said, anybody want us not to publish what we recorded? And all 8 of them was a no reply. So we'll have that on. If you will be patient with what's going on with us electronically, we'll probably have that event on the internet sometime when we can get through all of our stuff. It will be on the internet. I'd like to call to the microphone Chris Ernest Nelson.
Thank you, Jim. My microphone's not working. Can you fix this? Yeah, please?
It's working.
Is it working?
Yeah.
How do I know that? I can't hear myself.
I don't know where it
Ah,
gets.
Speak up, Chris, right?
Yeah.
Chris, count to 10, please.
Uno, due, tre, quattro, cinque, sei,
Hold on.
sette, otto, nove, 10.
He didn't
Are
say
you there?
do it in Italian, but
I don't need to hear myself after all. There's an echo here. I am Chris Ernest Nelson, and this is Born to Kill. He was dressed, excuse me, he was descended from hard brutes and their whimpering victims both. He was born on an altar in sacramental blood. He was just another desperate striding animal, but he was more unimaginably cruel than any other hairy beast that ever walked out of Eden. He drove his staggering prey over steep cliffs or beat their lights out with a club. He opened their sacred blood fountains where clouds of life steam rose into his fierce and callous eyes, where tears would not come to cool the stream of scalding slaughter. He may have changed the sacred rituals, but he was even more the master killer. He wore a suit and a tie, but he was clean cut deep. All the blood, sinew, meat, and bone became his own blood, sinew, meat, and bone. He haunted every battlefield and stockyard where poor things retched and died. He pretended to be better than the prey, set up from the animals, a step up from the animals, but he was just the apex predator, and he practiced depravities no other animal could imagine, even in their desperate struggle to survive. He built a religion out of killing the right way and called it the art of war, a necessary evil. He was always one cold night on hard ground or one missed meal away from dropping his pretense of being civilized. His face deforms as he takes up his keen killing instruments to strike down his terrified victims. Then he builds a holy temple from their dry bones and sings praises to his approving gods.
Thank you.
My friends over at the City of Lemon Grove appealed to me to write a poem to celebrate Veterans Day for their event they had yesterday, the International Culture Fair and Celebration of Veterans. So I did as I was told. Here we are. You brave few. We who join with you today and with every other patriot of this land gather together in our small towns, in our exalted cities, and solitary places across the vast American continent, from the promise of its Atlantic shores to where destiny meets the true Pacific. Come to honor you for your courage, your faithfulness, and for your service. You brave few who stood for family, for neighbors, and distant friends, for America in its hour of need. But mostly and forever, we salute you who bravely stood at your noble companion's side, facing our common foe. We offer up this hymn of glorious thanks for you, honored veterans. God bless you all, and God bless America. Thank you for listening.
Go over to this next gentleman's house. It's obvious that he is a master carpenter. He's a master mason, and his poetry reflects that. Everything fits together. And he's my friend and my brother. This is Jack Stewart Smith.
You can say a couple more nice words about me. No, I don't need to.
I don't owe him any money, and it's really special for me. He's going to play his guitar. If you haven't signed up yet, we will fit you in. If you want to, if you've been inspired and you were just going to be a civilian, sign up because we want to hear your words. And his guitar has a strap.
How many strings?
Well,
Only another veteran would say that. Veteran. All right. Brother, would you like a chair up here?
no, no chair today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just gonna rock out.
Oh. Stay on there.
Yep.
Okey doke. Is that a new guitar? Okay, this is a wonderful gift from that lovely lady over there. Santa came to town. I'm sorry, one last thing here. Okie dokie, folks. First of all. Hello, family. I love you all. I wanted to write this song. And I reached for my notebook. And inside my notebook, I found Colonel Jeffries' little book that he gave me. And it's Sing for the Dead. And his poem, Sing for the Dead, is what I'd like to share first. Sing for the dead. When you wake in the morning, sing for the dead. Your walk to the coffee maker is a victory march. You are alive. Last night people died. Sing for those, sing for the fires, sing for the hurricanes and the earthquakes. Sing for the violence, the floods and the starving. Sing for cancer and sing for those who just said goodnight to a world that promised love and took it away. And in your song, the dead will hear and will smile and bless us.
Courage up.
Oh, cute. Hey, 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 family. I got something deep inside me. Hey, hey, family. I got something deep inside me. Hey, hey, family. I got something deep inside me. Hey, hey, family. I've got something deep inside me. I've got nowhere to hide. I've got nowhere to hide when people are dying.
My pleasure. I'm so glad you came.
Nowhere to hide. I've got nowhere to hide when people are dying. Hey, hey, family, I've got something deep inside me.
I think I'm gonna end up with this outfit you brought, so thank you.
Family.
Wait.
Yeah, that's at all. I'll try it out.
That's why I finally give it up.
Sure.
No,
Which I think I have more on me than you do. I'm older, and so certain parts of me have sagged.
It'll happen, yeah. Yeah, I think it works for me. I don't think
Oh,
we'll have to
good.
reduce waistband, so great.
Yes. I think,
We'd like you to mute yourself, please. I'm sorry, brother. No, it's okay.
Excuse me.
Would you mute yourself, please?
Since I have to run to the restroom.
Can we give some love to Jack, please?
Hey, Laura Todd, please mute yourself.
Five minutes.
Did we get her muted?
I'm with them.
Apologies for that.
Yeah, she's muted now. It's all good.
Janice Helper is someone who also comes to my poetry classes. I love the way she writes. I keep nagging her that it's time for her to start teaching. Will you judge for yourself? This is Janice Helper.
low, good, nice and low. Okay, thank you. My poems are so tame today. Whole different thing. I've been writing to a lot of prompts lately.
Of course, as soon as I get up, go to the
This
bathroom.
one is called City. So this is my poem.
So beautiful.
City prepares for sleep. Midnight. Light blinks on top
Help
of
yourself some
Empire
fries.
State below
Help
taxis,
yourself to some of my food.
buses, cars, tucked into
Go ahead.
their nests,
No, go ahead.
tugboats,
Wait,
ferries,
wait.
rock on moonlit water.
See where it is.
Eating the odor of stale
where it is.
cigarettes, curry and pizza overflow in trash cans. A baby whimpers. My love and I, embracing the shadows, whisper, "This is happiness. I love you." Clasped hands, walk briskly to catch the last train to Brooklyn. I live my life a couple of times a week, riding the trolley to SDSU. Okay, Dolores, maybe I'll see what you say. I love Dolores. Blue Line, start at Nobel in La Jolla, a high rent district. Students, shoppers, guy with a bicycle, another with dog, tourists, lathered in sunblock. Open a book, change at Old Town for Green Line. Short men with backpacks, women with straggly hair and peasant skirt, carelessly cross the tracks. Sit next to coffee-colored woman who clutches plastic bags, overflow with cereal boxes, bread, flowers. She talks on a phone in a language I do not understand. Pretend to read, try to decipher even one word. We board a young mother, blonde ponytail, baby in snuggly. Breathe in the smell of baby powder. Feel mom's tiredness at lack of sleep. Chug past shopping centers, parking lots. Commuters get on, commuters get off. Adolescent boy in a wheelchair, bib around his neck, pushed by a caregiver. Or is it his mother? She pats his shoulder. It's okay, Gisco. Lower my eyes, wish them well in my heart. An unshaven man lugs his belongings in a worn duffel bag, bulging black garbage bag, cigarette behind his ear, mutters incoherent words. At Rio Vista, apartments jut adjacent to the tracks. Are the residents disturbed by the sound, or does the soft hum lull them to sleep or reverie? Past Stadium, Clinton Parkway, Granville. Students who chat lazily on cell phones, skateboards, girls in short shorts, t-shirts and blazers with logos I do not recognize. At SDSU stop, rush for elevator to take me up to street. Blend in, or do I? Not sure I belong with my white hair, walking stick for balance and safety. Perhaps these young folks think I'm a professor, a visiting scholar.
No wonder you got confused.
Suppress the
No,
desire
you
to
don't have to
doubt.
do that.
I'm one of you.
It's so silly. It's so silly.
We have 22 veterans committing suicide every day in our country. Some of them are having trouble with the transition between military life and civilian life. Some of them have PTSD, alcohol and drug problems. This next poet is someone who is a veteran, and she has worked with veterans that are potential of what I just mentioned over at Veterans Village. She is a wonderful, wonderful person that teaches. This is Billy K.
Everybody. So Jim and I are doing a veterans writing workshop on the 19th of this month. And we are hoping to publish the work that comes out of that workshop in the San Diego Poetry Annual. So if you are a veteran here in the room, or you know other veterans that would like to write and be published, please consider coming to that. We really want to publish veterans, and I'm the editor of the veterans section in the San Diego Poetry Annual, so you might have a way in. So this is a piece that I actually wrote in the company of my fellow veteran, Jihmye. So thank you so much for giving me and providing me space to open my heart to this. And it's about my mama, my foster mama. It's called Navigating My Way Home. And in honor of Veterans Day, it was about, well, that. Keep my thoughts between the lines. No, the asphalt has no memory of me, though I sweat into it. Walked over it, cried into it, and drove south, hoping it only went in one direction. Now I'm traveling north today. Hope rises up in me like the smooth hills, low at first coming on slow. I hope she's there. I'm navigating my way, left off the freeway, right at the stop sign, left at the next, and my breath is tight as I look for the telltale signs of home. It's the only house on the street with an island. She's my island. A stacked stone oval filled with daffodils and daylilies and bright rainbow pinwheels and a yellow dump truck. It's the sign of cheer and children. Is the car there? Is it parked on the other side of it? I used to sit on that island, applying my makeup, chatting with friends, or doing homework, but really I was just waiting for her to return home from work. I remember her waiting for me there to return from that physical and spiritual distance, that war that took me on an unwanted journey. She wanted me to hurry. She wanted me home. She waited on that island. She was my island. I pull into the driveway behind her car and exhale. She is here. She thinks I come home to this house. I know. I come home to her.
Let's everybody take a deep breath together. Take a deep breath together. And all I got to say is when tears come up, when you're writing or reading, it's the best writing. Can we give her some more love, please? I was doing a reading when everyone was going over to the coffee shop on the corner of University and 30th in the 1990s. And this lady was part of a trio of poets. And I forgot my name after they finished reading. She's a musician. She's a professor in music at San Diego State. Please welcome a warm second Sunday welcome for Dolores Fisher. Now it's Spontaneity 101. This is
Well, hello to everyone and all of you who are here, a lot, you, and those who are new family, but you know, who are my family. It's just like my blood family. In the Black community, we call it our play family sometimes. And to my sister, thank you. Thank you. All right. Where have you gone to, Tommy? Stopped by your corner yesterday early for usual conversation. You were still asleep across the street, crumpled under a thick green dirty blanket. And the antique shop deep marble doorway didn't wake you. Remember, you don't like that. What have you gone to? 3 weeks later, I'm looking. Drunk Bob, sober, stiff-legged, toward me at the bus stop mumbling, "Hey, girl, how you doing? You heard about Johnny? He died about a week ago, week and a half. We picked him up and put him up in that cold spell, got him off the streets, said he couldn't walk, fell from the top bunk, hit his head and died. Johnny's dead, man." We stand in silence, looking at your empty doorway seat. Then Bob tiptoes on down the street, saying sad, you know. Tommy was a good man. Took long enough to get me right then. How many left? How many triage spaces? How many hospital beds? How many small towns? How many big cities? How many holding cells, my brother? How many doorways, streets, days, nights? Rainy day kindnesses. Oh, brother Tommy, a pimply face, pale, thin, white dog teenager dressed in black and silver spikes, made away baseball cap. Your yellow favorite color to warm your head in the morning, and you smiling. Thank you, boy. An older black bus driver, grumpy as a possum in a rabbit trap, but not put off by your 90s old southern twang, rode you around all day, out of the cold, not rain, for free, for free, for free. An old Latina missionary, Salvation magazine in hand, gave coins and dollars to wash dry, smelly, street-stained blankets, sleeping bag, clothes too big, but still worn, glory under the oath, she would say. He looked at you and smiled and took your clothes away and brought them back the very next hour and a half. And then the old squint-eyed freedom. Cut your matted blonde hair, trim straggly beard, drunk Bob watch, dirt trail, face bandaged, dirty, bloody bandages. I could only offer conversations, morning at the bus stop. Us all in community, us all in community. Except I was in a business suit headed on the way to SDSU. You know, my brother, you told me I looked really nice in that business suit, and I was mad because I had started walking with a cane, and my limp made me somewhat obvious on campus. But you said, no, my sister, you look all right. Gotta have courage sometimes. Like it now, when everything got all clustered and nobody knew where to run, and all we knew was that bouncer dropping all around us and running. Got to be courage. Well, I hope that our talks helped. I really hope it helped. It helped, didn't it? Young Bob would wander off to the bar after that, and I boarded my bus for SDSU. And Frida would, well, Frida would old squint-eyed Frida would. But we usually left that corner laughing, and Tommy, you made me laugh. We looked forward to our mornings, same corner between 8 and 9 a.m. weekdays. We'd straggle in one at a time and laugh until the tears rolled down our faces because we knew the bus was going to be late. Tommy, you told a story that morning, the last time I saw you. You got to talking about being in the infantry ambush, rounded fire all around and people screaming. Freddie, Freddie was your friend, and you heard him that last night when the bombs fell. Tommy, that story had me thinking all day. I told you about my man who came back from Nam. How I couldn't think seriously about marriage. Because he'd wake up screaming in the middle of the night, and he would be pounding on my back. He had these dry sweats, you know. But he always woke up right before dawn, screaming and trembling. And something like that you said to me, looking straight in my eyes. If you weren't there, sister, ain't no way you could possibly know or understand what your man was going through. Past reality, checking into present day consciousness. Mornings at that bus stop for me rocked. We shared. And now they will never ever be, never ever. The police took you away. They said you fell off the top bunk and you hit your head and nobody could wake you up. You know, Junk Bob and old squint-eyed Frida and me sometimes stand at that corner. And if I'm early, I'll let the bus pass. And then we just look at your corner blank and think, don't I know this splinter you broke? Wow. Oh,
Thank you, my sister. This gentleman works for the same organization I do, Mid-City Community Music. And would you mind standing, talking about your program, your music program for the teens, and come over to the microphone?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here. I came as a guest for Jill and Robin.
What's your name?
Doug Hartley here. I'm actually part of Mid-City Community Music and Mid-City Community Entrepreneurs. So we're helping kids in San Diego, and particularly in City Heights and some of the high schools, to help them kind of move toward an entrepreneurial type of existence and a possibility of learning how to create a business of their own. So that's been going pretty well. And I'm also part of the music program. So we're working with kids 11 to 15 years old who are doing music, kind of like a school of rock kind of situation. Recently, we have some kids that are we just did a show at a subterranean coffee shop. We're actually going to be doing a show here. When I get the dates, I'll let you guys know. They're a great group of kids. We're recording tomorrow, Monday, at Pinback Music Studios at the Essex with Zach and those guys. So kids are very excited about that. They're recording their first ever original music track. So I'm sure they're not going to sleep tonight. You know, like these kids are just incredible. Practice and what they put into it. So thanks for having me here. It's been great. Maybe I'll come back again.
And I've invited Doug for 2024 to have his kids come here and feature. And then we'll record that and maybe give you some more visibility. So give him some more love. I met this man over at Blue Stocking Books, and he got up to the microphone, and I went, this man can write. Please welcome Charlie Berrigan.
Oh, right.
Yeah, do you want me to use that? You don't have to, okay, because but we're recording it, so. preferable?
Yeah, yeah, I'm just out of, just out of courtesy one, it's your house, your rules. So anyway, this piece derives from a time where, I'm out walking in my neighborhood. I've done it for years. I live very close to my local high school, kind of grew up there. And, so this time of year, this particular oral impression is unavoidable. This is entitled Anthem. You can call this a staple, especially this time of year, played and sung so often at all manner of this sort of event, that out of this context, the urge must be fought to append a boisterous play ball as land of the free finds an end. On this particular autumn, the announcers heard, setting the stage for yet one more telling of one of our central core American myths, in tune and in rhyme, of aggression denied and freedom unfurled. On this Friday night, in this incarnation, a young girl has the honors. Her voice quite demure, but not at all trained. Bravely she embarks upon a gentle traversal of time-honored triads and obstacle intervals, with just enough moxie to take a stab at a melismatic curlicue or two. The crowd hails assent, and why would they not? As Star Spangled Banner does have that effect still on most folks. But I'm left with a most discomforting thought. There's never been a fort built of requisite strength or any symbol, flag, or marker with a patriot's potency that can protect, secure, or defend government of the people, by the people, for the people, from a people that simply do not want the least part of that people's electoral covenant, that necessary trust and sense of collective honor.
Didn't you love the way he looked on the Zoom? That was like a film from Miles Davis concert or something. Wasn't that? That was just great. And it looked like he was about ready to play some blues. Well, you can play blues, can't you, Charlie?
Oh, you actually know. I can't do it. If you're on the page and you're on the stage with me. So,
But you are a musician, and what instrument do you play again?
oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Are you ready for the feature?
Yes.
I waited till you took a bite out of that food. Wasn't that awful? So let me tell you a little bit about Jill. Badonsky is a storyteller, inspirational humorist, artist, and author of 3 books on the creative process. She's been teaching writing, art, and creativity workshops since 1997 in San Diego, Dallas, New Mexico, throughout the US, and now internationally. She tells stories that inspire creativity and make fun of her ADHD. In her podcast, The Muses Daydream. Her specialty is freeing the creativity of her audience from the restrictive approaches of perfectionism, comparison, and other forms of fear-related blocks. In other words, she helps us stop taking inventories of people and of ourselves. Her poems are on the lighter side because her childhood was on the dark side. And she says to all of us, balance, people. This is Jill Badonsky.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
I want to thank Jim for having me here. I'm not a veteran, but it's been a pleasure and an honor to hear all the veterans' poems. I really honor his activist heart. So I'm going to make a contribution to a grassroots organization called Seed the Boat, and any purchases of my book over there also will go to that. So I took a poetry class from Jo Harjo, the first Native American U.S. poet laureate. Anybody here familiar with her? And she says, one of the elements to writing poetry is listening. Everything has something to say. The trees, the sky, the potted plants on the front porch. So I started listening. And what I found out is that if you pay attention closely, things are talking a lot. The desk, the refrigerator, the sink, the comforter, my robe, the fern, they're all chatting. The coffee pot was percolating in laughter. The heat was humming Girl from Ipanema. The cabinets were complaining about the Oreo crumbs someone left there for several months. Where there was one silent, there was a cacophony of conversation because I was listening. My attention turned outside to the window where the talk was louder. I was on a busy street and the street was wet from rain. Every time a car went by, it went shush, which I believe was yes. Every time a car went by in the wet concrete, I heard the word yes, yes, yes. The yeses came and they went. Nothing stayed yes for long. The noise evaporated into silence as soon as the cars passed. So I started asking questions that I wished had the answer yes. Will people ever live and let live? Will peace ever stay? Will divisions that have split us stop soon? There was a sudden absence of cars. Silence. No yes. Not too long after, more cars came by, but they didn't say yes. They said wish. They said wish, wish, wish. That's what I heard as I listened to the cars on the pavement. A truck said, get out of my way. Then a bus said, same old routine, same old route, day after day. The rain came down heavier and it started talking. And this is what it said. Yes, it's not the answer to your impossible questions. That's just your wish. Peace can be elusive. Listen closely. The cars aren't saying yes. They aren't saying wish. They are saying this too shall pass. The darkness, the conflict, yes, this too shall pass. Cars on a rainy street, the thought you're thinking, the pain you're feeling, these too shall pass. And then whatever comes next, that shall pass too. Listen to the peace inside of you. It's always there. I thought I'd hold up a sign every time I finish my poetry so you'd know. Today, by the way, is a beginning of a holiday called Diwali. Anybody familiar with Diwali? It's the Festival of Lights. It's a Hindu tradition. It's also celebrated in other Indian religions, and it symbolizes victory over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. The victory of light over darkness, ignorance, knowledge over ignorance, and good over evil. So I'm going to add a little lightness to this event. I hope that's okay. How to give a quick seminar on how to be a poet. Just do what Chris Vanoy does. Good luck. Number one, your attire. Poets wear mainly black, a beret and heavy eyeliner, and that's both men and women. Many poets smoke cigarettes. Women
and wear long skirts with genuine moccasins purchased from a reservation in Arizona with a nimbus sky and a turquoise come together into desire. Men wear turtlenecks and sometimes capes. Poets smell like patchouli, Whole Foods, and cigarettes. Number 2, be moody and aloof. Poets are moody and aloof, melodramatic and arrogant. They are prone to sudden flouts of anger about nothing really, and at everything at the same time. They use adverbs liberally and hate themselves for it afterwards. They will stop and talk about why the word forever was used when eternity would have been more evocative. They may be tortured souls, drunks, people unable to communicate in anything other than esoteric poems, request that you buy them a drink, give them a ride, or sometimes a cigarette. Number 3, use poet's voice. They use a voice that makes everything sound like poetry. It's all in the cadence, the pause, the vulnerability. Watch while I demonstrate how anything can be made into poetry. Last week, I had a colonoscopy. The nurse's hands were cold. I can't remember her name. Oh yeah, it was Alice. Much. Number 4, watch. Poets watch for flashes of insight, a flash here, a flash there, and in the dark of night, they form constellations of words that make you think or feel something different. Or not. 5, remove words and add melancholy. To write a poem, many poets simply take something that happened, remove extra words, and add melancholy. For instance, if I cleaned the dishes and listened to jazz music yesterday, I would write a poem that went, today was a day of cold train and dirty dishes. There was a moment of sadness because I was out of Oreos. Full poems don't rhyme. Number 6, spontaneously share. If poets have a captive audience, they will launch into reciting poems that they have memorized or invent one on the spot and assume people will be impressed. For instance, give me a subject. I heard time. Here's to the best words at the right place at the perfect time, to the unleashed mind, straight up into the mind. To long walks down starry paths, under desert skies, to the meaning you see in your lover's eyes. I apologize for rhyming. Many poets don't follow rules. You can ignore these too. There are many poets who aren't arrogant. They come in all sizes and shapes. I encourage you to be a poet so you can be as happy as I am. 8. Doug, you're up. Yeah.
Poets.
There's many exceptions in here. Speaking of poets, one thing I do is I teach people how to help people through creative blocks. And so I teach a creative coaching curriculum. And the first thing people learn is you can't tell creative people what to do. Creative people are rebellious. You tell them what to do, even if it's the secret to life, they will not do it because you told them. This is called number 8. Number 1, the muse is fluttering above the poet, dangerously close to the chandelier, with a big sign that says, "Right!" The poet sees the sign and sighs. Number 2, the muse waves the sign dramatically and clenches her teeth together in a large forced smile. But the poet has a sign that says, "No vacancy."
The muse kicks some very clever adjectives onto the page. Shiny, wispy, bountiful. The poet swats them with a fly swatter and places them in the garbage with the trout and the pilaf leftovers from last night. Number 4, the muse slightly perturbed pulls out a stash of nouns. Potion, allure, lamppost. But the poet is checking Facebook. Number 5, the muse drops a few well-spiced verbs on the poet's blank page and the poet pushes the verbs around with her pen. Pauses when she sees the word go. And puts all the verbs in a mason jar with holes in the top. Places it next to the cinnamon that expired in 2009. 7, the muse waxed herself on the head with the sign. And flies out the window to the songwriter that's sitting on the porch next door. Number 8, once the muse has gone, the poet smiles and writes this poem. Doug Hartley on the drums. My husband is now going to be on the trumpet. It's called Morning in the New Day. Morning peers like a periscope into the dark night, watching for electric flashes of the new day. Morning observes the new day, arriving wearing a hat made of 7 rays. All rays are the size of Africa. The morning blinks. He sees the new day arguing with yesterday because yesterday left the toilet seat up, did not take the garbage out, and has left muddy footprints on Wednesday's white carpet. Argue, 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 argue. 6 a.m. brings the end of an argument, and yesterday and the new day make love. The offspring are morning glories. The new day is sprawled all over the eastern horizon. It's giving small trumpet shells, long shadows and fading stars. It lights the pastures of corn and white clover, nudges the jackrabbit and the fawn, watches the flight of the great blue heron, and listens to the stirring of the wind. Morning feels like it's done its duty, so it takes team over to noon. But noon, as usual, is out to lunch. Thank you, dear. Short one. El Nino throwing hail at my window last night, tossing lightning bolts like he was some kind of rock star. Thunderously laughing at his formidability, I hid in my pillow fort and applauded, asking for an encore after each flash and roar. But he just stormed off. I've asked Anitra to accompany this one because it seems good for a flute. Thank you. This is called The Coaster, and it's not the train. For my morning writing, I picked a prompt from a book on poetry, and it asked me to find a totem, a shell, or a rock, and ask it a question, and then write down the answer. Intriguing, I thought, but I'm lazy. So instead of getting out of bed and finding a totem, a rock, and a shell, I picked up the round ceramic poster from the end table on my bed and asked, where should I love? I meant to ask, where should I live? I was wanting to leave San Diego and had no idea where, so I asked, where should I love? And I decided to go with the typo. Love was a typo, as it has been many times in my life. Thank you. Where should I love? I asked my poster again. My poster began to write. And bing, in my journal. Love the teacup and the soothing tea. The cup is warm on your back. Love it. Love saving furniture from rings that take away its beauty. Love being a souvenir from Scotland. I think she must think I'm a coaster, I thought. And then she wrote, love being round. I got up and got a cup of mint tea and put it on top of the coaster on the end table by my bed and wrote this. I love being round. I think I'll stay around. I love the way subconscious offers up things that don't make sense at first and they hit you right in the saucer. There's so much to love. The way red-winged blackbirds sing songs each morning to tell their mates they're still alive. The way the conspiracy of blue and violet shocks a white page with the possibility of sky. The way wherever you go, there you are, accessorized with a mind that could move you anywhere without even having to get out of bed. Sometimes I am a coaster. So like Judy Reeves said in her book signing for her memoir, mothers tend to show up in daughters' writings. My mother was an incredible artist. She had lots of art books. And so I found my mother in this Kandinsky composition X. There's a page in my mother's art history book with a background of black, hosting brown, red, gold, and green, squares and points. There's a geometric negative space between what looks like a fishtail, a book, and a hot air balloon, and a bubble, but one can't really be sure what occupies this Kandinsky's abstract composition X. A funny name for a painting that has no X. To mark the spot so that you know where you are in relationship to the world or fishtails or your mother. In the painting, there's also an alphabet of half moons, clotheslines, and empty tic-tac-toe grids. When I squint my eyes, I see two shapes come forward. I see my mother and I floating on the negative space, trying to communicate with each other in squares and squiggles, clotheslines, a language so abstract that neither one of us can really be sure what we're trying to say. But it's clear we want to say something. I don't understand why you're so unhappy. I don't know what you mean. But then I realize I'm the fishtail swimming out of this painting, Kandinsky's composition X, looking for the painting that says, why? And then I thought, what if you were an art docent giving a tour in an art museum, but you had a broken heart that kind of seeped in while you were giving your art tour? So this is what I thought might happen. Welcome, number one. This is our first painting, Kandinsky's composition titled On White. It hosts 3 small floating checkerboards, a prominent yellow triangle, and another maroon one. Notice his use of the diagonal orientation of line and checkerboard, truly cutting edge for his time. 5 polka dot worm-like shapes are painted on a background of warm brownish gold, and 2 swords, two swords, stabbing through the composition, 2 swords, ruthlessly piercing the art of someone who is true. Marooned and checkered, laying wounded on an eggshell covered background. He was a worm. I'm sorry. Number 2. Step over here, and you will see Kandinsky's World War I. Composition truly depicts battle, orange, red, and royal blue, and a crusade of rest, and the chaos of shapes and movement placed on the negative space feel positively violent. But we never fought. We only laughed. Our blues and greens melted together in a blissful, harmonious spectrum. He left as fast as a stroke of paint, right over the white canvas, over the cat, over the easel, out the door. I hope he's happy. Oh, I'm sorry. Step this way. You will see Kandinsky's composition 6. It has an accent of red in it. How could he be happy? How could he not miss me? I'm suffering here. My composition is decomposing, and all I can think of is how he tossed me out like a mistake into his wastebag of casualties. Why did I think I was any different? He's reckless. He's abstract. He runs stop signs. He stained my best white canvas with his permanent cadmium orange. Oh, sorry, I didn't get much sleep last night. We come over here. This is number 4. This is called Accent in Pink. Kandinsky's Accent in Pink is a grouping of round circles, most of which are separate, not touching. There's a pink one that's an accent. It's particularly large and fringed and inconsiderate. None of the other circles like it, so they are going to a movie and dinner and living the rest of their lives without the asshole in pink. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say asshole in pink? That's what I meant, asshole in pink. Thank you, Alfred. Okay. One more? Okay. So I'm a lover of Billy Collins poetry. Anybody else love Billy Collins poetry? So I also teach writing classes, and he did a poem called Shoveling Snow with Buddha. And so I did a poem called Doing Yoga with Mary Poppins. Let's get use the page. An unlikely icon of the practice, she is usually seen singing to children with her face tilted, a tad to the right, spooning out medicine in the supercalifragilistic, negotiating a twist or even a triangle may seem dubious while wearing that long tailored navy blue dress, properly accessorized with a nanny bag, hat, and high top button shoes. But she uses an umbrella as a yoga prop. Here we are, me and Mary Poppins doing yoga on the beach. Her umbrella lifts her above the sand in the lifeguard stand as she sits in full lotus position in the air. Just a full spoonful of sugar helps the head go down to the knees in a full forward fold. Exhale and extend. I say, and she begins to sing in soprano splendor. Let's go fly a kite. As kites surround her, standing in the air in Tadasana. Standing straight, sternum lifted, butt tucked, Lowering down to the lifeguard stand, feet now grounded on his rooftop, lifeguard shouting through a megaphone, please get off the roof and behind the flag. She's oblivious to his command as she is solidly connected to her inner holiday. Oblivious to girls and boys, skulls and noise, but anything but her pranayama, which is taking her deeper. Namaste, she says, bowing her hands at heart. We complete the practice. She takes me in for my nap, and then she folds my laundry.
One more time, Jill Badonsky, please. And how about those musicians, please? You get your money's worth? Me too, me too. Joe, you want to help me out on that? Well, you can, whatever donation you want to make, please approach me at the end and I'll take it. We've raised $110 so far, so thank you for that. So since Billy K brought that up, I'd like to read in the back. This is one poem. It's a little book that's one poem in Thadata, and there's two quotes from here. In other words, why would you want to buy this kind of a book if you're not Muslim? Well, this is the reason. There is no Zionism. It's Zionism, not Israeli Jewish people. It's Zionism. You gotta get that straight. The Zionists are just as they're equal with the Hamas. And there's in Jewish people. Steve was Jewish, so let's not get that confused. It's not about all of Israel. It's about this right-wing version. And they would welcome. I would say the Zionists would welcome Marjorie Taylor Greene or Donald Trump. So you get it. There is no Zionism, colonization, or Jewish state without the eviction of the Arabs and the expropriation of their lands. Ariel Sharon. There is no other way than to transfer the Arabs from here to neighboring countries, all of them. Not one village, not one tribe should be left. Joseph White's Transfer Committee Director. So please help out if you care to. Our next poet, do not offer him decaf. Do not offer him decaf. This is the original, the one, the only Chris Fenoy.
The past weeks have been very hard on me because of Palestine, because of all the children that have been dying, the innocent people. I'm not really sure what to read today. Moonlight before dawn. Tell me of your love for me. Recite some lines of poetry, yours or mine. It doesn't matter. Here in this velvet night, our forms encased in candlelight, the whispers of our breathing, speak words only lovers know. Then when our passions have all been spent, send quiet stillness, quiet stillness, reminiscent of our new dreams that sparkle here, moving our feet in the moonlight before dawn. The homeowners were livid, yelling from their many mouths which occupied both sides of their case. Not in my backyard. No mental hospitals, no needles, no drugs. No, 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 not in my backyard. The architect drew up plans for expansion, but the grade was too steep, so he took a reading from his horoscope and raised it to a higher plane. The elevator operator floored it, leaped 47 stories, and proceeded to eat pigeons 2 at a time. The soldier dripped innocent blood on the carpet as he field stripped his war machine while sipping Agent Orange and vodka. Babies in Bosnia play with machine guns as the unexploded bombs stick softly in their stateroom nurseries. The politician smiled, shook his own hand, and promised action. The jogger put foam in his ears and couldn't hear me say good morning. The kid played Nintendo. His eyes jerked uncontrollably, but his body never moved. The academic stared down his bookish nose at misspelled words and asked of degrees and bibliographies. The policeman tattooed sunglasses on the meter maid's face and punched her ticket. She smiled. The whore pulled him over her, into her, took a dollar bill and left a quarter-sized sore on his face for change. The beggar wanted a quarter, but didn't take what was offered. The fat cat snickered with a cheesy smile that folded his face in half, hiding his eyes. The liar ate his lips. The thief stole glances and sold the sly theology students. The martyr buried his cross and thumbed a ride home, hoping that he would not miss the execution of the 6 o'clock news. The doctor took my temperature, looked at his watch, and told me I would die someday.
I'm looking at the number of poets we have left and the time that we're allowed to be here. And so I'm going to ask all of you to only one point, please. And that way we'll keep Frank happy, and because he's getting tired too. I'm going to ask for Joby to come up, and then Shannon after her. Joby Townshend Zellner, please come up.
Very friendly. Take your phone back and find us. We will jump right to it since we need to watch our time. The title of this poem is The Ancient Dirgeful Drone. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. The title is The Ancient Dirgeful Drone. The deadly, dreaded poetic drone. Drones that fly overhead are benign compared to this one. This drone without which no one is considered a poet of words. If this drone is an initiation rite, then write me out. I'd rather be wrong than suffer through this rite of passage, which has felt so wrong for so long. Feels like the drone is assaulting the poem, though it comes disguised as a serious tone. Yea, a deadly, serious drone, intent on sucking all the life from the poem. Then chewing on the marrow of its bone while it lies there, spiritless,
as the press papyrus on which its ancestors were born.
Shannon is back with us from the 1990s. Welcome, Shannon Bates.
Back from the 1990s, I think. So since we're short on time, I'm just going to do an improvisation, sort of a modal improvisation, instead of reading any poetry, which I wasn't happy with anyway.
Shannon Bates, give her some more love, please. Susan, have you been here before, Susan Walter? Have you been here before?
Yeah.
So let's welcome back Susan Walter.
And now for something entirely different. First of all, I was at the Festival of Lights. This was a gift to me from my very dear friend back there. So, beautiful things from India. This is what you hear when entering heaven. Google it on YouTube. Sometimes the most glorious songs I don't want to understand. Sometimes the real words turn my emotions to bland. The melody makes a heart lift. The voice alone is the gift. And that's enough to push. Repeat. Repeat. Repeat.
Leah, have you been here before? Leah, my house? I think this is first time here, so give him some love.
Hello, how's everyone doing? Thank you so much for having me. This is an awesome crowd. Yeah, I hunt like all of the poetry San Diego mics, all of them. So my friends and I have never been to this one before, so they'll also be hunting you in a moment. I've been wishing and washing about what I'm going to read. I think at the very last second I'm going to read this one because I like the last line. Let's see if I regret that. Let's see. So I go to the San Diego Jazz Jam down at Panama 66 a lot. If you ever want to listen to some jazz, this came out of that. If you like what you hear, I have a book. Just let me know. This is called Centipede. This is kind of like a live jazz poem. I hope you like this. Crawl on me, like onto me, like make me playground, rainbow, pentagon, jungle gym. I multicolor shadow you. If you look close at the outline, ever notice you hold an aux cable to your skin? The speaker it's plugged into makes a little buzzing noise. What are you saying to the air in a language you can't hear? Saxophones have no idea what they're saying, are probably standing next to each other, coal miner like where's the diamond we didn't find? I promise, boss, part I found something I need to stash there. The ground is full of so many quiet, powerful, begging to be dug things that don't like to be touched. Scorpions, uranium, rock slide, warning signs, wide neck, multicolored plastic, Walmart brand water bottles from kill you hikes, but we survive. Where does that word come from? I have no internet connection. I have a master's degree and a wild degree of intellectual irresponsibility. Let's do this. Like sir, like surmounts. Like get over, S-U-R, like surrender, no, or maybe surrogate, surreal, surrogate like a something else that serves a purpose just as well, happily, joyfully, sacrificially survive, like surrender, like I will give myself to you. What will you give back? Let's give to each other. You are safe with me. Are you listening? You are safe. What can you be? Surreal, like what did you say? Like, no, say that again. Like, you are safe here. Like, hold someone close. Like, there is a Costco's tiramisu in the freezer. It feeds 12 according to the box, but I happen to know that it's thicker than porn star Dick and richer than Jeff Bezos wants you to think his warehouse workers are. The point is, Costco boxes are full of shit. Survive, like surmount. This mountain was my bitch so many years ago. I'm too big of a person now to be interested in calling a mountain my bitch. Survive like surreal, like Dolly painted melting clocks because fuck time. I have sunsets to watch. I made a promise to my friend and I can't remember it. So I have to keep living until I do. Surmount like surrogate, like who knows what the future holds. I just want children. But one thing I know is that I sat in the dark at 2 a.m. crying to myself saying, no, this can't be possible, be true. Of the heavily bearded first-person shooter, video game playing, beer drinking, hard farting master's degree student who's always been a super awesome women's ally as a cisgender male, and God listened to weeks of that patiently and said, shut the fuck up and give me a hug. Are you ready to tell me your name? I wasn't then. Y'all know how long it took me to tell you. And in most ways, I'm more honest with you than with God. It's one of her pet peeves, but I've got to get back at her for keeping me as a pet somehow. She doesn't clean my cage often enough. Dogs say rough, say shingles, say singing 3 days, quote unquote, healed from being sick, slurping honey packets because the show must go on. I never remember where I'm going, where I started, what I want, when I was right. I think I like it better that way. Wordsworth said poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, but according to my psychologist, screaming doesn't solve anything. Thank you.
Olivia? Have you been here before?
I think a lot, but do my laundry next.
Olivia Mercedes, let's give her a warm love.
Been getting smoothies from Frank for a long time. It's my first time with you all, so thanks for this space. The working title of this piece is Condemnation. The only thing more fought over than land is holy land. The only thing more deadly than greed is entitlement. The only entitlement more deadly than the one with guns is one with a God. The only thing more powerful than God is education. The truth, the speaking not from faith but from facts, from the stacks of children's bodies screaming stop the genocide, pleading stop the torturing, the decades of war crimes. Doing unto them what was once done to you makes you everything except a hero, everything except a defender, and all of the things required for evil. You say your God is infinite, yet you kill in the name of scarcity, and you kill not the ones who took your home, rather the ones you already took yours from. The homes of those who once lived peacefully beside you before someone else with their own guns and greed and God decided that your homes were theirs. You have defended nothing but the abuse of your abusers, choosing to repeat the crimes done against your ancestors instead of healing them, instead of breaking the cycle of innocent bloodshed, you add to it by the minute. Exterminating children by the thousands, burying the living, starving them for simply existing, and you do so with pride. Without trying to hide your intent of genocide, your leaders claiming these children have brought their deaths upon themselves, your supporters mocking their martyrdom, turning their massacre into TikTok trends, their suffering into skits, plainly demonstrating not only the depravity of what was once humanity, but also the unchecked power of the oppressor. Forcibly stealing not only land and homes and families, but also your mind's most critical capacity to think for itself. To judge from a place of humanness instead of blindness, to protect your heart over your wallet, your brainwashed obedience to an authority reliant on you reliably being lied to. You can and you should condemn Hamas for killing the equally as innocent children you too have lost, and by the same logic, you can and should condemn Israel. Condemn Zionism for flooding the same grave, the grave of children whose names were written for the last time on their own limbs, because the chances of their faces being blown to bits has become higher than the chances that they will get to live. How many more of them must we stack before we agree to stop the attacks? If you can grieve your own children, surely you have the capacity to grieve theirs too. The way I am grieving for all of you, for all of the tallies, the innocent casualties, you can condemn both the one who hurt you and the one hurting them. Especially once you consider the one hurting them is the one who created the one who hurt you. There is no their side or our side. There is simply one side where babies stay alive. Where the sanctity of a child's life is not kindling in the fire of war crimes, the side where I am not afraid of condemning an organized genocide, much the same way I condemn the neo-Nazis and white supremacists, the homophobes and the racists. I may not know a God, but I know evil when I see it, when I hear it, when it is screaming from the bodies of children. We must speak it. We must all speak it because God knows the dead no longer can.
You two young people who just came up here, Leah and both of you, please come back. These last two poems were what was happening at Claire de Lune in 1991, 92. You are embodied with what the shoulders we stand on, you're standing on them too. So thank you all. This is why we're in good shape, because these young people. Yeah. You got it right. Second Sunday each month. Bora, what? Bora, you still here? I think you're here for the first time. Let's make you feel real welcome.
Okay. A little closer. What do I do with this overwhelming pain that comes to me from afar? Do I meditate? Should I send love and hope that will only serve to be poppies among shells raining down on a city that I cannot pronounce correctly? I've signed the petition and debate whether to risk my life savings to send food and water to kids better worth saving than me, but the borders are blockaded, bombed. All of the aid is gone.
Now you're tired.
Even social media delays the news, blocks accounts, and erases the hues of the truth. And I post and go down the rabbit hole, but the rabbit hole boots me out because there is merch to be sold and festivities of Hallows Eve happening. Here, watch this playback of a little bunny. Hallows Eve is happening, and the chasm of the hearts buried in grief. The hollow eve of bombs burning the buildings of the innocent who just want a safe place to sleep, clean water to drink, bread to eat, just want a way to protect their children, their families, but there's no technology to relay the cry for help, and the world watches in agony. The UN is a limp puppet for profiteering, power-hungry countries like my country, who watches as pestilence and disease grows rapidly on Palestinian victims, crawling, digging through rubble, looking down on their hands covered in red sand. Their eyes once looked upon the stars for hope, for infinity, towards safety, but now the stars look all too closely like missiles raining. Is that Mars? Or is that thing getting closer, getting faster, brighter, shining like the stars of America? Mars doesn't grow or erupt in jets of flame, brightly shining with a silent anthem on its tail feathers. Why is it that fishermen's boats must explode? Why is it that my tax dollars fund this massacre? Again, I lie in my bed and think of the dead, and I hear a song loop round and round and round and round in my head like a broken record scratching the silence of the night. And it goes, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night. The rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night, and the rocket's red glare.
He really needs no introduction. If you've been coming here for a while, this is Alistair McLeod.
I was gonna sing for you, but it's not time. I was gonna sing, you gotta walk that lonesome valley. Well, I did walk that lonesome valley, but not by myself. If I had, I'm not sure I'd be standing. I don't know how many of you know the Pine Creek Wilderness. It's very little known for some reason in San Diego, even though it's only about 45 minutes east of here. It is one of the most beautiful places in in the Californians, actually. And there's a trail that goes all the way from North End, Pine Creek Trailhead, all the way to the magnificently named Horse Thief Canyon Trailhead. And I did it, but without, and I'm gonna turn this into a poem saga for another day. But the point is, you don't walk that lonesome valley by yourself. Diana Nyad, you may have seen the film about her, was swimming on her fifth try. She swam from Havana to Key West. Damn near got killed. She started when she was 28. She resumed the effort at the age of 60 and made it at the age of 64. She didn't walk that lonesome valley by herself either. She couldn't even come close. So I'm just here for a minute or two to say that I'm so glad that you guys are walking with me. And I have learned far, far too late in life that unless you're trying to do things that are far too difficult for you to do, you are wasting your time.
He's a professor at Baylor University. He's coming to us from Waco, Texas right now. He started showing up a little while ago. I know not 2 years ago, but we don't know where he came from, but we know he's going to probably read you a poem in English and Spanish. This is Julio Cesar Aguilar.
Thank you, Jim. I am going to read 2 poems in English. Birds drilling. Marshes that are cities, that are haste and our world. Hate came here to unsheath itself, to knife the hunger of so many centuries, to tame the fury of digging out at such a slow pace that so-called terrible anguish. That's why we came, not to be jubilant birds or songs among branches, although undoubtedly we fly. We are warriors from no combat and combatants in so much war, and we are like joyous birds who die singing and live over the asphalt. The second poem, Betrayal of Today. Rushes on the riverbank, foliage and transparency, frogs and clouds all around. The geese fly. Solicitous, the lagoon holds a moon and a distant, gloomy sky. A most heavenly evening dives into this lagoon, a loom of densities. On the water's surface, a single question mark. The moon, the howl moon. Thank you.
Dios te bendiga, hermano. Muchas gracias. Madison Victoria, are you here? Okay. One point, please. Just 1 point.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Madison.
So although I don't have a piece that is specifically dedicated to what's going on globally right now, I have been speaking with people recently about how what we see at the geopolitical level, all those power imbalances and abuses, they fractal down and exist at the person-to-person level too.
Yeah.
And all those hells and heavens on earth, come from the roots within all of us. So my firm belief is basically we cannot demand peace of those we abuse. And my short piece I'd like to share is just my own experience with being at the hand of abuse. It's called Gas Leak Chasing a Cigarette. If I can be abused like an artist, I'll love you like one too. The abuse, not the art, but that's art too. It's a poem. My dry mouth, sputtering light, the attrition of an antique lamp that cannot leave its youth. Aggressive and turned on, I'm a kind of hot silence, that old burning smell. A house fire waiting to happen. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. You young people are not second-class citizens in here. You've shown just as brightly as some of these people who've been 2 generations above you. Please come back to Second Sunday whenever you can.
Yes.
Well, one of my sheroes is still here. We did a workshop down at the library on the border, and she was the poet artist, and she had the kids do art on art paper, and then we had them flip it over and write a poem. And she's a marvelous teacher. She's a marvelous poet. This is Marjorie Pusole.
The super short way. I deal with a lot of heaviness. I like to think about the other side of it.
Go closer to the mic.
When life gets lifey, I let tears roll like waves where mermaids frolic. Become me, with fish scale eyes, toss away my shoes as water rolls off my tail. Free to swim in azure seas. It's okay if life gets lifey.
All right.
Our last poet, Navy veteran, actually served on a ship that went real fast. Welcome, David Legenhorst. That's opposed to an LSC.
Thank you, Jim. I'm not gonna read anything. I just say I'm overwhelmed with talent in this room. Been an incredible afternoon. I am so thrilled with the young people here. My God.
Yeah.
You are so great. You are so caring. You're so eloquent. My God. You guys are fantastic. You should be so proud of yourself. Please, 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 please come back. I'm an old, there's dirt out here younger than me, so you know, I'm not as old as my young friend here, but I'm damn close. We're both in our 80s. I'm not gonna read anything. I wasn't gonna come up until I saw Billy Kay was here. And I wanted to do a public apology to Billy Kay. Because last year I was promised that one of my poems was gonna be published in San Diego Book. And it wasn't. And I told everybody that was gonna be published. And I let my, I don't know, something get the better sense of me. And I sent her a message that wasn't very nice. And so I apologized to her. Anyway, yesterday was Veterans Day. Fortunately, I had dinner with several veterans, and it felt so good to be among people who've been through it. We've all been through. Vietnam veterans. Had one there, Jim, who were saying, what kind of ship were we on? Said I was on a battleship. She was on the New Jersey when they brought her back out. Anyway, I know we're short of time. I just want to say thanks to you guys. You're fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I'm so proud of you. And we just left our house of 44 years. I don't see my wife. I guess she deserted me, but
she's in the back,
which was kind of traumatic. But we're settled in now, and we're in an old people's mobile home park, and I think we're going to be just fun.
Yeah,
And
home.
my fear was when we decided to sell it, and the house is 2 stories. That's why we sold it, because these knees don't do stairs anymore. And my fear when we sold it was that we were gonna have to leave the area to afford another house, and then I would leave all of you, and that would just crush me. And so we bought a mobile home company, and we'll be just fine here, and we're still here. And I get to. Well, thank you, Jim. Appreciate it, my friend.
Okay, so you did the move like,
See you again.
Mr. Doug, would you like to back me up on this last point, sir? Thank you all for coming. This poem came to me after a phone call with Brandon Sinma, talking about doing this show. It was about 2 weeks ago that we did on Thursday night for the Palestinians. The next morning, this poem woke me up, and I was amazed at this poem waking me up, and I said, I don't want to write you right now. And the poem said, bake the bread of peace. And I said, I really appreciate you want me to write right now, but I'm really sleepy still. I don't want to write you. Break the bread of peace. Break the bread of peace. All right, all right, all right. So I wrote that. I wrote the poem, and it's been revised about 4 times. And I appreciate having such an amazing drummer with me. Here we go. You, pen, again, woke me from sleep. You want me to build a poem of peace for those who won't be heard? So many voices for peace fall on deaf ears, deaf ones with selective non-hearing. To know that war is terrible, but terribly profitable. Poem. You tell me to help build a nation of peace by baking the sweet bread of peace. You say begin to knead the dough of listen with hands of kindness. Blend water of empathy as you gently knead the tribe of connection. You know this on account of how you swam through the sea of experience. You learn to start with the multicolored flower of love and light. Love and light. Mixed with the yeast of diplomacy. So we can rise to the challenge of change. Add the salt of the earth, the innate wisdom of Mother Earth that guides us to care for one another. The rainbow flowers of our hearts wish no harm to any man, woman, or child. In that way, we're all from the same tribe. The tribe that loves children. Jimmy Collins. Jimmy Collins. Jimmy Collins was my black brother from different mothers, an Army veteran who lived in peace. He's here right now. Can you feel him? If he can feel you. He believed that the world was one big family. Poem, you remind me that the ancient land has 2 peoples who are both descendants of Abraham, who continue to recreate Munich of 1930 instead of Munich of 2023. Jimmy Collins loved the calla lily. It was his favorite flower of peace. On October 7th, 2023, he would never have sent thousands of rockets to the Holy Land. He would have sent thousands of calla lilies to honor both the sons and daughters of Abraham. Poem, you woke me to ask us all to be from the tribe that loves children. Every one of us. Love is not abuse. Poem, you remind us that a parliamentary government can choose leaders who love the calla lily. Mhm. Leaders who follow the recipes of peace, who bake the bread of peace for the people. When you feed your people with the sacred bread of peace, you always, always remember, always, that love is not use. Mr. Dove. See you next time. Thanks for coming. We got the books available for you if you're interested. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me in. You're my brother. You're my sister.